Welcome in, everyone, to the first episode of the second season here of Hawkeyes and Tallboys. My name is Rob.
I'm Dylan.
And I'm Bo.
Here we go, boys.
Here we go.
All right.
Hey, here's to you.
cheers.
Here's to you,
Cheers.
fellas. Let's
Cheers.
go.
Hey, let's go Hawks.
Go Hawks.
All right, let me turn this intro music down here.
I'm gonna tell you what, boys. I missed that beer.
Oh, my God.
I know.
That was a good drink of Busch Light Tallboy edition.
That was. And I just got to point out, too, guys. So, now, viewers, I know obviously we're live right now. And so, for one, we've never done this. So, take it a little bit easy on us, for one. But two, look at our fancy new equipment we got here.
Yep, we're rocking some microphones that we picked out from Rockville.
Was
So-
it from Rockville?
Yeah, I guess shout out to them. And so we got hopefully better sound quality for you other than just using a phone to record.
Believe it or not, guys, that's what we did. We used to pass around a phone and hilarious.
And we recorded thanks to the Anchor app.
Yeah, that's
thank
true.
You, Anchor.
And kind of cool thing that they want to sponsor us. So we get to read off an ad for the first time, which will be fun,
Which we'll do that later.
which we'll be able to do.
No worries.
So yeah, we're all super excited. So sorry if you were looking at us going live just a few minutes ago. We were just testing it out. We just want to see how it looks and how we looked and how we sounded, just to make sure we got everything worked out and all the kinks worked out, so that way we can get this show off and running. So as you probably saw from our social media, we were posting about what obviously the countdown to the season, which we're all really excited about. And then we also were count down basically everything that was going on in camp, and previewing this episode a little bit, how we're going to get to a lot of questions that were submitted by fans and that we can get to, and some questions that are looming, for this particular season. And yeah, I think we'll get into some predictions as well. So did I miss anything? That's everything that we're doing, right?
I think so.
Sound good, Rob?
That's about spot on. One cool thing we did, so we all reached out to, friends, family, etc. Just trying to get some questions to go off of. What is it that you guys want to know about the Hawkeyes this year? And if you guys are okay with that, I think we can just jump right into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So one thing to add before you jump in
go
here
ahead.
too, we are live here on Facebook. So if you guys have any live questions or anything, we have a feed going too. So we'll ask our questions, but also if you guys want to ask other questions, please feel free to do so.
Sweet.
Kick us off, man.
Absolutely. So our first one actually comes from an old college buddy of mine, Mr. Nathan Mott, currently studying. I don't need to tell you guys his whole life story, but farm student down in Iowa. So Hawkeye through and through. And he wants to know, he says, Hawkeyes and Tallboys, who's this year's stud tight end? Obviously, viewers, most of you are going to know that, we not graduated, but lost two NFL caliber tight ends to the draft last year in TJ Hawkinson and Noah Fant with the Detroit Lions and Denver Broncos. So, I can kick it off you first, Bo. Who do you think?
Yeah, I think this is going to be pretty easy, and hopefully we don't all agree with this, but I think Nate Wading is going to be our number one guy. I think Kirk Ferentz, I've seen him. He's talked to a lot of media and has said a lot of good things about Nate Wading. He's a fifth-year senior. He's had the injury bug all 5 years, but he says this is the best that he's ever been. He's coming back. He's strong, and he said that he reminded him a lot of Henry Krager Coble, who was another good Iowa tight end that played in the NFL for a few years. So I think my favorite this year is going to go to him. Dill?
Gotcha. What are you thinking, Rob?
So yeah, I know that we always agree, but I'm gonna go ahead and go with Nate as well. I think that he's going to be. If you listen to Kirk Ferentz talk about his preview for the season, especially coming off of the bus that came through recently, he mentioned that's obviously one of the glaring openings that I think that you could view as I don't know what I want to say, like a weakness for this team. And we lost like two of the best tight ends, and obviously no school has ever had two tight ends go in the first round. Tight end university, baby.
You bet.
And so it's kind of next man up mentality there, and or mentality. What am I trying to say?
Mentality.
It's honestly, Kurt is 60 now, guy, or Kirk is 60. So it's a mentality.
Hell yeah. 21
He's a
seasons,
grown
dude.
ass man, y'all.
Nuts.
And you just brought it up too, Rob, but that whole Big Ten bus tour thing. So you guys both watched the whole thing, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if I can say this, but how fucking vanilla was that? That was horrible.
I know. It's everything that they said were just like, it's, attitude and effort, only things that you can control.
Yeah.
And I was just like, okay, yeah, we get it, but give us some bits, give us some nuggets to talk about.
And I get, these players are coached from day one, right out of the Kirk Ferentz school guide to the media.
Yep.
So, and, they without a doubt passed with flying colors. I know I watched Nebraska's the other night, and they had a guy guarantee a Big Ten West championship. Not the type of kid you're going to get coming through Iowa State. I think it's all safe to say. So, I just wanted to comment on that. I did not like that whatsoever, and family friends watching that don't like the F word, I apologize.
Well,
like we said before, it's don't really hold anything back. So.
We're explicit for a reason. I mean, we're drinking
right.
beers. We're probably going to be cussing. Anyways, to get back to the question, Nate Weeding is who I'd go with. Obviously, Sean Byer is right there behind him. And then I don't know who's behind those guys, if there's any young.
Drew Cook.
So, yep, Drew Cook. Drew Cook would be your third string tight end.
Gotcha.
At the moment. Now, we're going to get another depth chart released Friday to, kind of see how things have been going in camp. And that'll be the official preseason depth chart, if you will. But yeah, right now it sounds like he's kind of a distant third anyways. So I'm going to go ahead and disagree with both of you.
Okay.
I think Sean Byer is going to be the standout. And here's what I'm thinking. And you guys might remember the year where we had Henry Krieger-Coble, and there was another guy. I want to say it was the early years of George Kittle.
Right? Yep.
So we had them two as
a young George Kittle.
You remember that? What an animal, George! If you're listening, wow.
Big ups. Hey, if you're listening, George, I chugged a beer with you at Club 76 two summers ago,
Yeah, dude,
and I have never.
Red, white, and bluegrass.
Yes.
That was a riot.
And I've never forgotten it, and I never will. And he probably is just
Shout
another
out Club 76 Lodge.
beer chugged in his life. He had no idea who I was, but that's who I was, George, if you're listening.
But that's how
Sorry.
No, you're fine. That's how I see this year going. Is I think Nate Weeding's going to be your typical, solid blocking Iowa tight end. I think he's going to catch some passes over the middle. Don't get me wrong, but I think the stud to look out for this year is going to be Sean Byer. Another one kind of hit the injury bug a little bit late last year, but he's back and ready to rock. So
solid. Yeah, good pick.
Cool.
Good pick.
Oh, and kind of going off that as well, I didn't want to throw out there is Kirk Ferentz and some of the media discussions has not led us to believe, but we could see a couple new freshman tight ends as well coming in.
Mm-hmm.
We got Joseph Meeman,
Josiah
Meeman, and Sam Laporta. So, and Sam Laporta, I want to say, is an Illinois guy.
Yeah, he is an Illinois guy. 6'4", 250.
Yep, good call. And so last year, we talked a lot about that brand new rule of the 4 games before you officially have to redshirt, right? So, look for these guys to get in early in the season and, use that up and hopefully be able to maintain the shirts as well.
Cool.
Perfect.
So
yeah, that sounds awesome. I'm excited to see how the Titans play this year.
Right. Yeah. Thanks for the question, Nate. That was a good one. That was a good one to start. Another one comes from buddy Seth from North Liberty, Iowa, former workmate of mine. Seth, hope you're watching. So he says, hey guys, betting is legal now. How do us fans bet on Iowa week 1? And then, so for those of you that don't know, I know Bo told me on the way over here that, he's not the most gambling friendly guy. Well, hey, I'm frankly kind of a degenerate. So let's go. Betting's legal in Iowa. I'm pumped. Sports betting, that is.
So, okay, let me first off, before you ask, you going to Des Moines? You're going to go down to Riverside Casino?
Riverside.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
I can drive 2 hours.
Hey, man.
It's outrageous.
Never know.
No, but
Prairie
I
Meadows,
see
they
what
got
you're
horses down there.
Well, and so how they're actually doing it now too is you can go to all the casinos you want and get signed up with them. And then how they're doing it is they're all building these apps so that we can build up these apps and essentially make those bets online.
Okay, I was just going to ask because I know that it's legal, but I didn't know how to do it, if you could do it online, if that was a thing.
So you got to go to the casino initially to sign up, prove you're 21, all that fun jargon, sign up for their club rewards, memberships, and all that. But then you can kind of go from there. So,
okay. And
then from there, you download the app, and then you can make bets online. You just collect and then deposit money there at the casino. So
gotcha. Good to know.
So as far as betting goes, typically when you're going to bet a college football game, you're going to have a line. So a line might be, minus 3.5, let's say. So Iowa is favored by 3.5 points over blank. So you can essentially bet either way. You can bet, against that team or for that team. And so say we bet on that team, Iowa would have to win by 4 points for you to win that bet. Does that make sense? So if Iowa wins by 3, you lose. Wins by 2, loses, etc.
Okay.
So they kind of go that way about it. And then you can also bet on the money lines, just straight up. Iowa's going to win. Iowa's going to lose. And then you can bet the over/under. You can do prop bets, a bunch of different stuff too. So cool.
I just looked it up to see what the odds were for the first game on the schedule against Miami.
I got it too. Nice.
Oh, you got it?
No, go ahead.
Well, I don't know if this is what you got.
There's a bunch of different ones. So
yeah, okay. So this one's saying it's got Iowa minus 21.5.
Yep,
is the line.
Yep. And so essentially, what that means, degenerates out there, is Iowa's got to win the game by 22 points for you to win your bet. And so Seth also pointed out to me. He said, in the last 9 seasons, Ferentz is 3-6 against the spread in week 1.
Really?
So the last 9 years. So, I mean, we all know Iowa's a low-scoring team. Ferentz, I highly doubt he's spending his nights at Riverside, but if he is, he isn't betting college sports. So, so he doesn't give a shit about that, frankly.
Yep.
So what we need to look at here is, to me, this just feels like one of those games that's going to be a 31-10, typical first game of the season for Kirk Ferentz. He's not going to run up the score on him. He's going to get the younger guy some playing time. I mean, what do you guys think?
I mean, it's I think. Sorry, Rob, to cut you off. I think it's classic Kirk Ferentz too. And think about it too. Kirk's not going to want to go blow out a mid-level team your first week. Yeah, you want to go see improvements. You want to see your first team offense and first team defense hit some people.
Yeah.
But I agree. Hate to agree with you, but it's going to be a 30-10. Maybe if they crack 35, maybe I don't know. But I mean, look at Wyoming a couple years ago. We go in and I don't even know what the score was. Definitely low scoring, like 23-10, something like that.
Right.
We don't play well week 1, but we're not going to blow anybody out week 1. So I have to agree with that.
Yeah, it's kind of getting the kinks out.
We'll get to this when we get to predictions, but I put this game 24-3, which is 21 points. So kind of right where
we need to be then.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. I could see maybe our defense hopefully not giving up a big play, but if something happened and they scored, I can see that easily.
Now, Brian Ferentz, we know you're listening to this podcast because that's what you want to do on a Wednesday night. We get it. You're skipping practice. You're listening to Hawkeyes and Tallboys. Blow them out. Let's go. Give the fans something to see. It's going to be a night game. We're going to be there. We're going to be drunk. We're going to be having a great time. We want to see a blowout. Let's go.
Well, we heard Tristan dude, what is going on with me today? I'm getting everybody's first. I'm a little nervous. I'm a little shaky.
Need a little bit more of your
I got a beer. Yeah, I'm chugging my beer. No, I got little first episode jitters. But no, remember if you watched a little bit about like what do they call the on the road bus or whatever the
BTN
Big
bus.
Ten Network bus
or whatever.
One of the few things that of piece of information Tristan Wirfs was talking about, like what do you guys look forward to, he was sitting there with Nate Stanley and he said, want to get the run game going a lot better than they did last year, which everybody knows our run game was dog shit last year.
Yeah, horrible.
And it's good to hear that from the leader of the O-line. But I mean, if we can get that run game going, hopefully just we can just steamroll Miami of Ohio and not have to show our hand too much in the pass game.
Yep.
But one of the things that I'm super looking forward to, I don't know if any of the questions are going to get there, but one thing I am looking forward to this year is seeing what our receiving core looks like as far as personnel wise goes, but like a little bit more of Brian Ferentz and what he brings to like more of like, I would imagine a spread offense. It's not like we're going to be going double tight and running routes like we did last year with Fant and Hawkinson. So I'm really interested to see what that looks like.
Yeah. And I think we're going to see a lot more trips this year, 3 wide receiver sets, just because we don't have that dual threat that's, NFL caliber.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I thought you were going to say something.
Nope. You stole it from me, bro.
Oh, my bad. Thanks.
You good?
Cool.
No, but that brings up another question from old Seth from North Liberty as well. So first of all, he put it in a little bit more profane terms. So I'll dumb it down a little bit, but more or less, he was wondering how Colton Rastetter is still on a scholarship here at Iowa. For those of you that don't know, that's our punter. And so, yeah, he is. Are we happy about it? It is what it is. I don't really know what we can do about it. But I can tell you the coaching staff stepped up here this offseason and got up back on the recruiting trail and actually got Michael Sleep Dalton in, a grad transfer from Arizona State University. So,
yeah.
And he's also Australian born. So he's an Aussie. He went to Arizona State. I want to have a beer with this guy first and foremost. Give a shit less how far he kicks a football. He'd be a fun guy to have a beer with. My God, Mike.
Something kind of cool about that too.
I take the kangaroo to the Kenneck, yeah.
That's probably who he was practicing with. Kangaroos out in the outback.
Right.
So at the kids' day, when they had the open scrimmage, they had, I think it was a punt from the 47-yard line down at the 1-yard line. So Sleep Dalton is going to be our number one guy. I have a great feeling about this. Rastatter, he's not hurt. Is it Gersonde that's hurt?
Yep.
Yeah.
Ryan Gersonde or
I think Rastatter's going to be sitting on the sidelines with a cowboy hat, and I don't think he's going to see one bit of time until, listen to me here, the only reason he's still on this roster is for almost throwing that touchdown pass against Ohio State to Tyler Kluver, the holder. You guys remember that?
Where Kluver tripped?
Yeah, he tripped on the 3-yard line.
Yeah,
turf toe.
That was awesome.
Yeah. So I think we'll only see him in trickeration mode. Sleep Dalton's going to be our starting punter.
See, I love that trickeration.
See, I can see what you're saying.
Trickery.
But, I mean, if you throw him in there just in trick situations, everybody's going to know what's going on.
Yeah.
This dude hasn't been in here all season. You know what I mean?
So then, when do you play him? Do you play him when you want to kick a rugby style?
So that's what I was just going to kind of bring up is you guys remember a few years back where. God, was it Rastetter? It might have been Rastetter's freshman year, but whoever our punter was kind of struggling. And they had Marshall Kane, who had the booming leg, wasn't necessarily a punter, but they had him come in and kind of do that rugby-style long punt. And then the other punter came in for the short punts. I want to say that was Rastetter, but maybe it was somebody else.
Dylan Kidd. Was it him or Dylan Kidd?
Thank you.
Yeah,
yep, it was Dylan Kidd. You're right.
Yeah.
So
because I think I remember a couple games. They're like, looks like C.J. Beathard's still on the field. No, it's Dylan Kidd.
Right. Yep. So, spot on. Both number 16. So no. So that's my thing. So yeah, Rastetter, he's just not good. He's not going to get it done. I don't think. So I think I'm with you. Sleep Dalton's going to take over the number one spot, but I do think we take Colton Rastetter in those short punt situations. So
cool.
Like that 40 to. Our own 40 range. I think he comes in there because I doubt we have the kicking power to be making 57-yard field goals. What do we get here?
Hey, so yeah, I got to shout out Brandon Leonard. Appreciate the comment. He says Rastatter couldn't start for North Mahaska, which is a Class A football team. So shout out B. Lenny. Appreciate it, buddy.
That's hilarious.
He's not wrong.
Well, they got listed on the most recent depth chart under special teams. They got Colton Rastetter on the kickoff, which is fine. But then they also got him as holder.
Okay, I'll take that.
So I don't know how his hands are, but I trust Kirk Ferentz.
I don't doubt there's a place for him on the team, but
won't be your start.
But he's got
absolutely not.
He's behind Michael Sleep Dalton and the punter. So we'll see what he looks like this Friday. What their depth chart is. But I'm more excited about Michael Sleep Dalton, and honestly, from everything that I've heard from camp, only just from listening to other Hawkeye Report podcasts and things like that, that they're mentioning Michael Sleep Dalton 50-yard punt, took a nice roll, blah blah blah. So good stuff all around.
Definitely good stuff. So next question comes from the new Vaughn Costello out of Anamosa, Iowa. And so he was curious on Twitter the other day, what in the hell is going on with Oliver Martin? And I think we're all wondering that.
Yeah.
So,
yep.
So I can tell you everything that I know is right now. So basically there's a rule in the NCAA where, as soon as you decide to transfer a school, if it's D1 to D1, you automatically have to sit out a year. Well, the NCAA, being the smart people they are, decided to make this thing called the transfer portal. And so essentially when a recruit or when a player has interest in transferring, they make the request and enter this transfer portal, and essentially they can start getting recruited again and going through the recruiting process while still being in school. And so essentially what he did, so he put his name in the transfer portal, obviously enrolled at Iowa and did all of that, but the NCAA has yet to make a decision on it. And so right now, currently in the transfer portal, there's 1,061 student athletes. Mm-hmm. Of those 1,061 student athletes, only 338 decisions have been made. So that's 32%.
Yikes.
And we have 10 days until the football season.
No, not even.
Not even.
Because they have first game this weekend.
Thursday, right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. This is the first. Yeah.
Yeah. Good
is
call.
that the deadline?
No, I don't think so.
I guess.
Could we be in the middle?
Unclear.
I'm just curious. I'm just thinking like, it could be in the middle of the season and all of a sudden be like, and now we have Oliver Martin back.
That would be crazy because then they take a year of eligibility away from him if he ends up playing, right? And and then he would only have just say he played 8 games.
Right.
Yeah. And that would be I feel like that would be a violation against the NCAA.
Yeah, it's asinine.
Yeah,
they're sitting here saying they're doing the best thing for the student athlete. Absolutely not. These decisions should have been made a long time ago. Now you can make the counter argument there though that Oliver Martin didn't file his paperwork until late or file his appeal until late. Yeah, but still, you have 32% of these requests answered. Now, if it's one way or the other, if you say he can't play, that's fine. Just everybody wants to know something. Can you imagine this poor kid going out busting his ass every day on the football field and not even knowing if it's going to pay off for him this year? So, just seems asinine to me. But a little further stat there, so that might make Hawk fans feel a little bit better. So, of those 338 decisions that have been made, 285 have been deemed immediately eligible, while as 53 have to sit out that year. So I don't think the NCAA has clear-cut rules that say yay or nay. Because, if we were going by hardship, if he wanted to bullshit and say he had something like homesickness, I think that would be more than fine going from Ann Arbor to Iowa City. Obviously, he's from Iowa City. So say something like that, be closer to family. I don't know. I mean, what do you guys think?
Yeah, I'll take this one because this gets me pretty heated up on it. But so just to go back to that Big Ten Media Day, we had a guy that I think it was a tight end that transferred from Georgia to Illinois because his grandfather wasn't doing very good, right? He moved back to the state of Illinois because of his ailing grandfather, and they decided not to let him play. It's like, dude, his grandpa could be dead in within the next year, and he goes to transfer, does the right thing to go back and be close to family. Mm-hmm. You're not going to grant him that, but you grant Jalen Hurts, a big name guy, or even Ohio State's quarterback. Mm-hmm. Grant him, start right away.
Tate Martell,
or even Tate Martell, or who's the other guy?
Justin Fields.
Yeah, Justin Fields. Yeah. That's who I'm thinking of. Yeah, and they grant it right away. I think that's asinine to me. One thing too, I want to bring up
about the money.
I feel like it's about like how big of a name they are and how well known they are.
Absolutely. And one thing too, I really like about Jim Harbaugh, and let me know your guys' thoughts on
this
too.
Stop it.
He did say at Big Ten Media Day that he thinks that the transfer portal, that everyone should get one chance to transfer. After that, you sit out a year, so you get a free pass. It's like a hall pass. So you get one free pass. Just say, in Oliver Martin's case, he goes to Michigan, gets homesick, wants to go to Iowa, eligible immediately. But he wants to go back. Just say he wants to go back to Michigan. Then he has to sit out a year for transferring back. Does that make sense?
I love that idea. I haven't heard that. I didn't hear that Jim said that, but I think that's a great idea.
I agree. I think so too.
Because these kids are young. Like you think about like if you're a freshman, sophomore in college, like what are you? You may be 21.
Yeah. Right.
You know what I mean? Like
freshman, sophomore in college is 18, 19. Think about your guys' decision to go to Iowa and then Illinois State.
Right.
Shit. I mean, just say we're playing. Think of going to Iowa and then, hey man, I'm not going to play. I'm going to transfer somewhere else. I mean, you're a naive 17, 18-year-old high school graduate.
Yep.
Trying to decide what your future is going to be. I think it's asinine not giving somebody, permission to go after 1 year. That's my thought.
I'm going to go ahead and disagree on this one. So I think, nowadays it doesn't seem like a commitment means jack shit anymore. You see it all the time. Recruits decommitting 3-4 times, kind of holding out for that better offer. We just had it the other day with Aaron Witt. So he originally committed to Minnesota and then committed to Iowa. And then now he's committed to Wisconsin. So, I mean, he's still got, a full year left to commit to the rest of the teams in the Big Ten West, no doubt. But, I mean, the way I think about it is, I think there should be, maybe a little bit more forethought. Is that a word? I don't even know.
Yeah.
But more forethought in the process. And, if you go there, I think, maybe not necessarily stick it out, the full 4 years. I get it. Mistakes happen, but I don't think that we should be all transferring willy-nilly. So
okay,
that is what it is. And also Jim Harbaugh's a douche. So
I can agree with you.
We'll move on at that point. So awesome.
True. Well, I will say this. It would be excellent, and obviously everyone would agree with me that having Oliver Martin eligible for this year for Nate Stanley's senior year.
Mhm.
Like, he's almost kind of exactly what we need.
Right.
So in order to not jinx it, I'm really trying to just not think about it too much and just hopefully it just comes through. But I know Kirk Ferentz in the past hasn't had a lot of success with the transfer portal and things like that. And he even mentioned, like, with this new rule coming out about the 4 games that you can play as a red shirt, Nate Stanley would be a junior this year, which is crazy to think about.
Right.
1 more year with Stanley would be excellent. But regardless, it's no secret this year we're going to be going 3 wide more than we did last year, and like having him, wherever he may be. But right now on the depth chart, when we go 3 wide, we have a couple of freshmen in the slot, which I'm excited to see how they look.
And our wide receivers this year are good. Everybody's freaking out about the fact that we're losing tight end production. Nobody's talking about Brandon Smith going into his junior year, getting bigger, better, faster, stronger. Nobody's talking about Amir Smith-Marsette getting BFS, nice. Amir Smith getting bigger, better, faster, stronger, which I think opens up, you can almost do like a reverse thing, because the typical Iowa way has been, run to open up the pass, that typical play action. Well, what we can do is go back and start, use the pass to open up the run. Yep. We do that with that 3-headed monster we got coming back and running back, and I think it's going to be phenomenal. We might be getting ahead of ourselves a little bit, but that's okay. I'm getting fired up. Let's go.
Dude, cool thing I've heard coming out of camp anyway is that Amir Smith-Marsette is probably the most excitable wide receiver we've seen since Darrell Johnson-Koulianos, which is huge praise.
Wow.
You think he does as much blow?
He does love the crack ass, bro.
Speaking of, I almost wore my Stanzi jersey for this. But no, I'll tell you what, guys. I don't know if you saw this interview that happened, but Tyrone Tracy, I think, or somebody coined somebody in the receiving corps coined the term "sweet feet."
Really?
Yeah, but they said that Tyrone couldn't give himself the nickname "Sweet Feet," so they are calling their group of receivers "Sweet Feet."
Nice.
But hopefully we hear it, maybe an announcement. I could see a breakaway touchdown or something, something going rival. Oh, Sweet Feet to the 5 touchdown.
Gary Dolphin.
Gary Dolphin.
Gary Dolphin here,
Gary,
ladies and gentlemen. And we got Sweet Feet running into the 5 or to the 10 to the 5, and that's a Hawkeye touchdown.
I want Sweet Feet.
Well, we talked about
happen.
that though. We talk about these Hawkeye receivers. Okay, yeah, there's 2 good receivers. Yeah, teams have 2 good cornerbacks. I get that. So we also got,
corners are not that good.
Okay, good point.
Okay, okay. And I may be saying something that people would disagree with me. But first off, if you talk about corners from high school, right? So I know we're talking about college football in the Big Ten, but high school corners are literally dog shit.
High school corners, yes.
Right.
College corners, different story, I think.
College corners are athletes, but dude, you can pick on corners.
I could have played cornerback.
You can pick on corners. They're no more athletic than the guys that we have at receiver, is what I'm saying.
Oh, absolutely.
So, besides, I don't know, somebody like Josh Jackson, or you know what I mean? You have those talents. A guy, this is really random, but I was just watching an Ed Reed highlight video the other day. And just somebody like that, somebody who can ball hawk a little bit and read the quarterback. I mean, that's the scary thing. I know Ed Reed played safety, but when it comes to our pass protection, if you're going to have to cover these guys for 4, 5, or 6 seconds, good luck. I don't have any, I'm super confident in our receivers. I just hope that we are able to target them better than we did last year.
Right. And that's the thing. Everybody you're going to have coming in at the receiver position is going to be fresh, because we do got those 2 other guys in the slot. We got, Nico Reganey. Thank you. Yep. Reganey. And then we got, Tyrone Tracy. And we also got Max Cooper, who did see a little bit of time last year and definitely could be something. I think we just got another comment.
Yeah.
What we get?
Well, we got a comment from our guy, Andrew Parker. Parker Dusty Nighthawk is apparently what they call him back at the Aerotex. But the Hawkeyes really love that 5-yard sideline out, is what he has to say.
Who the hell does Andy like?
I don't know. Is he an Illinois guy?
I don't know. Is he just being a turd?
I think he's being a
turd.
Being a turd.
Whatever.
We got another comment. Bo runs a good 800 meters. Thanks, Nick Peter. I appreciate it. But we're talking about the Hawkeyes here, not high school glory days.
Right.
Anyway.
Oh, you guys want to talk glory days? Let's get a 24-pack. Let's go. Let's party.
Hey, anyway, anybody ready for another beer?
Yeah.
I got you.
Okay, cool.
Get that
What's our
next
next question?
Yeah, we'll get the next question going. So next question comes from Caden. He resides currently in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, a former resident of Walford, Iowa, a graduate of the Cedar Rapids Prairie Hawks. And Caden wants to know, guys, who is going to play the cash position this year, and what will Amani Jones's role be on the team?
So
I think we all know. Oh, is everybody ready?
let me give you my I just cracked mine because I accidentally cracked it earlier because I'm an idiot. But
and before you go, obviously you guys may have noticed our Hawkeyes and Tallboys koozies here.
You bet.
This and other merchandise will likely be for sale soon and coming to a tailgate near you. So
absolutely, check us out at Myrtle Ave.
We'll be on Myrtle.
But yeah,
go ahead, Rob. I'm sorry I interrupted you.
Before the depth charts came out in the middle of summer, I was already looking up articles because I was sick, not being able to watch football. So I'm excited that we're so close. But my guess, and I was kind of hoping maybe that they would maybe put Michael Ojemudia in the cash, but I wasn't sure because you could have moved. I feel like we have a decent core of linebackers, and if we had somebody who's a little bit quicker, to move somebody like that to the cash, they get somebody like a little bit more. So I don't know, like whether or not they want coverage or they want somebody who's just like somebody who can blitz or something like that. I'm sure they'll switch it up.
Yeah, and even taking a step back there, so some of you Hawk fans might not even know what this cash position technically is. So obviously college football has evolved into the spread offense. And, typically 8 of the 12 teams that Iowa's going to face in any given season is going to run that spread. So what you might have noticed in that Amani Hooker spot last year, what they do, it's a hybrid spot. It's at linebacker safety hybrid. So now essentially what Iowa's running, instead of their typical 4-3, they're running a 4-2-5 and bringing in a quote-unquote extra defensive back that they call this cash position. So just to verify that there, Amani Hooker's manned that role for the last few years. And
Beast.
And he's been a beast. And so I see your point with Ojemudia that I think he could have stepped up there and been
Ojemudia.
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 Yep. And actually, I heard somebody on Big Ten Network call him Ojemudia.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, is that how you say it?
That's some shade. I think that's some shade.
Wow. Okay.
Or I don't know. Is it Ojemudia?
Yeah, you got it. Yeah, Ojemudia.
Okay. All right. Sorry.
A very well-spoken young man, by the way. But
yeah, seriously.
No, nonetheless, I think so. Hell of a corner. I think he can play a lot of different positions now. I think you drop him down into a linebacker situation where you got a potential pass rush or you got to be on a tight end. I think that's where he's going to struggle. Mm-hmm. So far, anyways, what we're seeing and what we're hearing is that DJ Johnson, one of those Indianapolis recruits, is going to be manning that spot.
The Indianapolis pipeline.
Yes, sir. We talked a lot about that last year. We talked a lot about DJ Johnson. So
yep.
I think he dabbled a little bit in a safety spot in situations last year, but obviously behind Julius Brents, Matt Hankins, and those guys. But the dude hits like a truck. I think as long as he's got the coverage and everything down, because if you think about it, in that 4-2-5, you got the job of a linebacker and a safety in coverage.
Yep,
that's tough. So obviously he's got to get that down. We're going to see some growing pains there, but I think he's the guy. I think he's going to kick ass. Cool. Bo, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree. But I also would have liked to see Geno Stone at this position because I think Geno could have been a beast at this. Think about Geno's 6 foot, 200 pounds. He would have easily lined up. He's got the same frame as Hooker. I think that he could have done probably just as good, if not better. But I do like him at the safety spot, though.
Dude, but Geno's got that pound that you see like out of the Bob Sanders. So I see what you're saying. But I like him better in that safety spot on third down situations where, they're going to be, throwing the ball over the middle.
Yeah.
Like teams love to do against the Hawkeyes, that bend but don't break. Obviously they'll let you throw underneath all day. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll throw underneath, but as soon as you get cracked one time by Geno Stone, you're not going to want to go in front of him again.
See, that's why I think he'd be a perfect fit for the cash position because he's going to be that one, that ground and pound, that he's going to come up like an extra linebacker because he has that size and that build and that frame.
Right, but in that cash position, you still have coverage, like essentially man-to-man coverage responsibilities.
Yeah.
Sometimes. So, you know what I mean? Like that can get a little bit rough there where, he doesn't have like that free hit, where you get clean somebody's clock, possibly go out with the targeting penalty, fire the team up.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. Just the only thing with that, just say I move Geno Stone down, who's going to play safety? maybe Julius Brents, maybe Matt Hankins. I don't know. That's a topic for another time.
Yeah,
Kayvon Merriweather.
We got a few different guys
Yeah.
that move around. So
I'll tell you guys
I
what.
think it can be done.
Yeah.
Do you think?
Yeah.
Oh, question for you. So, DJ Johnson, redshirt freshman. Do you think they're going to give him 4 games and then pull him and put somebody else in the cash position?
Ooh.
Because I think that with the group that we have, because there are guys, young guys that are corners that have started. I don't know if you remember last year, Riley Moss and Julius Brents, I believe, who both like started at corners when we were
playing at Minnesota.
Yeah, against we had some injuries.
2 injuries, yeah. Yep.
Yeah, so those guys have big game experience, and I think that it could be an option to where they could move somebody, because right now they have Michael Ojemudia behind him in the cash position, according to this particular depth chart. But it's obvious that they have things moving around. I'd love to see just like a true freshman come out and just star on our defense and really like start a new era, because I feel like I know we have a lot of talent on this roster, but I feel like we're young still on defense.
Phil Parker coach teams always have some sort of freshman standout. You wouldn't have thought it last year, but obviously Julius Brents and Riley Moss both come in as true freshmen and play a game. And obviously Riley Moss had some quite questionable plays in that Minnesota game that everybody seems to remember, but nobody remembers that he got 2 picks as well. So
yep.
The dude's going to be a hell of a player for Iowa. Now, to counter your point though, Rob, I don't think it's a good idea to bring one of those guys in a cash spot, simply because I think they're both true corners. They're both long, lanky guys. They still got, I don't want to say the high school mold body, because look at this body. It's not what it was back in high school, but you know what I mean? So
yeah,
because there's such a linebacker aspect to that spot where Amani Hook was another one that hit like a truck last year that excelled in that position, and that was a big reason why, because his linebacker like stature.
Yeah, I get that. But I don't know. That's an option for us. I guess it'll all shake out the way it does. Probably just based on performance.
Yeah, and speaking of another true freshman we're hearing a lot of in that secondary spot is Dane Melton, one of our recruits out of Florida. So keep an eye on that name, Hawk fans. It seems like there's always some freshman in a Phil Parker coach team that ends up getting some playing time, and I definitely think.
What position? Is he a D-back?
They call him a defensive back, so I don't know if they're thinking corner, if they're thinking safety for him, but sounds
also,
like he's having a great camp.
Also, Dylan Doyle, coach's son, I believe,
Coach Doyle's good.
Is a redshirt freshman this year.
He'll get in. Yeah. Linebacker's another spot that you're going to see a lot of rotation in this year, I think. Yep. So, especially these first 4 games.
So,
but the second part of this question that Caden had was, talking about Amani Jones's role on the team. So, for those of you that don't remember, Amani started middle linebacker 1 game last year.
Yeah, but did he start the season there? Yeah, I believe so, because I remember.
And you could tell the intensity was there. The dude just missed holes. So the execution wasn't there. Not saying he wasn't smart enough for the position, but what the coaches went ahead and did is start using his strengths. You see this guy run down the field on a kickoff, and everybody's getting the hell out of the way. Like, this guy's a straight psychopath murderer running down as a gunner on kickoffs. So this guy just wants to hit somebody. So naturally, what role are they going to put him in?
Defensive end.
They moved him to a defensive end, and I love it. And specifically a rush end specialist. So imagine this D-line for a second, everyone. Say you got Amani Jones, a psycho ass
using
on one
fingers
side.
here.
You got Amani Jones on one side. You got AJ Epinesa on one side, and you got Chauncey Golston, who could play another end. They bump him down like they did with Parker Hesse last year. Yep. And then you got a guy like Davion Nixon or Brady Reef or any of these guys that can be run stuffers. That D-line is going to be damn near unstoppable on third downs. I think the only way they can get beat is essentially on screenplays. I don't know. I am pumped.
Yeah.
You cannot tell. Let's go.
And your boy, Jamon Colbert.
Yeah,
Digimon, my boy.
Digimon.
Got to catch them all.
Yep.
That's Pokemon.
Still. Digimon, man. Starting at weak linebacker. Sophomore. Redshirt sophomore.
Got the wheel spot.
Had one hell of a year last year, too, didn't you, Rob? We talked about him a lot on Hawkeyes Tallboys last year.
Yeah, we talked about him so much, we figured out that we pronounced his name wrong.
Yeah.
Digimon, you're right.
Digimon, but honestly, it's a sweet nickname.
Yeah,
I don't remember that you would play cards and stuff in your what were they, like robots or like little? They're similar to Pokemon.
Yes, something very similar to Pokemon.
Well, that's what. And this is.
Are
gonna
there
age us-
any nerds who are listening who could like maybe inform me on how Digimon works?
I think it's essentially like a RuneScape, Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon mixture. Yu-Gi-Oh.
I honestly might have been. I was actually, to be honest, I was picturing Yu-Gi-Oh, and I was saying Digimon.
All right, we should stop
Nice.
talking about this
Yeah.
before.
I
we
will
Anyway,
solve our-
he's a dope linebacker, and
Yeah.
he's young.
Cool thing. Yeah, exactly what I was going to say. He was a freshman last year, redshirt sophomore this year. We have him for 3 more years.
Yep.
Unless he goes to the NFL. But I don't see that coming because he's good, but we'll see what happens.
I'd like to see how he plays this year.
So safe to say we're all excited about the defense. And kind of going off topic here, but we got a question from my buddy Tom. And so he currently lives in the Solon, Iowa area. So he's not a Spartan, he's a Peahawk, but he lives in Solon. And he wants to know, hey guys, why in the hell is Nebraska ranked? Good question. I think hype, typically. For some reason, these sports writers were alive in the 90s, and they remember Scott Frost playing quarterback for him and taking them to a national championship. I get it. It's awesome. On a serious note, they got Adrian Martinez, obviously a pretty good linebacker. Yeah, pretty good quarterback. Thank
I wonder
you.
if he would play linebacker.
Pretty good quarterback, and it's Nebraska. Their recruiting's always been there, so they're going to have some offensive star power. The big question I have with them, and the reason I think they should have been left out of the initial top 25, is just due to that defense.
Yep,
And
that's exactly what I was.
we hear it all the time that in a lot of conferences you don't necessarily need defense to win football games all the time. I think you can score more points, you're going to end up winning the game, but at some point your defense is going to have to make a stop if you want to go 11-1, 10-2, and win a Big Ten title.
Yep.
Or Big Ten West title anyway. So I personally don't see that this year. I think they're a couple years away now. I definitely think Scott Frost is going to flip it around. I don't think they're going 4-8 again. And I think they're going to, upset a few teams this year. And, that mobility of Adrian Martinez is going to be a challenge for a lot of defenses this year. But should they be in the top 25? Absolutely not.
Yeah, I would tell you that I think Nebraska is going to definitely upset some people, and they're going to be a tough team to play at home, and we have to play them at home, which is going to be one of our toughest games.
And Nebraska's schedule is dog shit. I mean, go ahead and look that up when you get a chance, Rob. But
I'm on it right now. I'm pulling it up.
Yep.
But their offense is going to be up there with one of the best offenses in the nation.
Agreed.
So you got Adrian Martinez, who's going to be a run, like he's an RPO quarterback. He's either going to pass out of that or he's going to be able to run for however many yards. He reminds me of like a Russell Wilson type player, who's a dual threat. Here's their schedule right here. But anyways, what I was going to say is they have 2 receivers who are elite. J.D. Spielman is one of them, and then the other one I listed down here, which is Mike Williams. And so they have like probably one of the best receiving cores behind Ohio State in the Big Ten. So that's something, if you pair that with one of the best quarterbacks in the nation going into this season, barring injury, I would say that they're going to be one of the best offenses. But here's a look at their schedule. So they're going to play a couple of cupcake teams versus they're home against South Alabama. They go at Colorado, play at home against Northern Illinois.
Now, Colorado, I'm going to stop you there.
Sure.
Colorado beat Nebraska last year.
They did.
In
That's a rivalry game.
In a close game. So back in their Big 12 days, that was a rivalry game back.
Is that their rival?
when
Is that like our Iowa State? I wish Blaine was here. Blaine, if you're listening, man, we got an extra mic for you, buddy.
No doubt.
We're waiting for you.
Yeah, he ditched us.
That's our everybody. Blaine is our Nebraska correspondent, unofficial member of the podcast.
10-4.
But yeah, so I guess maybe Colorado would be tough for him. But then look at this: Northern Illinois at Illinois, Ohio State will be tough
At home, that's a crossover game. That'll be tough.
Northwestern at home. But see, all their big games I feel like are at home.
Yeah,
they go
they have
at Minnesota. So it's home Ohio State, home Northwestern, at Minnesota, home versus Indiana, at Purdue, which will be tough. But they got Wisconsin at home.
Mm-hmm.
They go to Maryland to blow them out, and then they got us at home.
So I think that's a fair statement that all their tough games are at home. So, I think the hype is there, but I don't see it this year. I think they're a few years away yet.
I feel like they got our schedule last year.
Yeah. Yep.
Right.
I talked to a couple of my buddies that are big Nebraska fans. Lance Hinchberger and Dylan Miller both agreed with you guys on the schedule, having all their big games at home, which is good for them. I think that they're going to excel with that. That's where I think that their offense, especially against some of the other Big Ten defenses, is going to be very potent.
Oh, speaking of, I'm going to Lincoln. I'm going to that Iowa, Nebraska.
Maybe
game.
see you there.
You are?
Black Friday.
And that's Black Friday, yeah.
Black
It's
Friday.
going to be a fun one.
Crazy story real quick here.
Yeah.
I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe that 4 Nebraska players, I think they had pot-related, what am I trying to say?
Charges?
Pot-related charges. They're going to be dropped.
Really?
So 4 of them are not going to get suspended or anything before the game. Shout out Barstool Sports. They said Classic Nebraska is back here, dropping 4 pot charges on their guys.
Which makes me think. So the cop that went ahead and arrested Tristan Wirfs for being on that moped, take some notes from the boys in Lincoln.
Dude, he's sitting out in game 1, right? Because he was in a bar underage, not drunk this year.
No,
I swear to God.
no, that was handled internally. He was.
Was it?
Yep, it was handled internally. So he had to do some wind sprints. Way to throw me under the bus there and undermine my thought there.
Sorry about that. So then, wait, is he sitting out first game or no?
No. It was handled internally.
Okay.
Few wind sprints. Go buff.
Perfect. We'll take it.
Here we go.
We'll take it.
But anyways, so yes, Iowa City Police Department, take some notes, please. Let the boys off. Come on. We got a Big Ten championship that we got to win sometime in my lifetime. So
We got a
Appreciate
tough
it.
schedule. We're ranked 37th in strength of schedule this year, is for whatever that's worth. So we have the 37th toughest. So, I mean, it will be a rough go for us, but I think that it's doable. The way that I have predicted our games, which obviously I'm looking at it through rose-colored glasses, because if you look at the guys on paper, we have, like, I would say, one of the most talented rosters that we've ever had.
completely agree. On paper, we are an 8-4 or a 9-3 team. So
I gotta say 9-3.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
Really,
Nice.
on paper,
we'll get to predictions.
Yeah.
yeah.
I want to see what
get
yours
there.
are.
Yeah, we'll
You
get
bet.
there. So cool. Had another question. Getting a little sentimental here. Buddy.
All right, man.
But Buddy might have had a few drinks before he had this one, but he was like, "Hey guys, what does being a Hawkeye mean to you?" And
I love it.
I will take this one first. Been a Hawkeye since before I can remember. What it is to me is we talk about the Iowa Nice. We talk about not having a professional football team.
Don't
So
cry.
what
Don't cry,
is
we
buddy.
we talk about corn,
for those
corn liquor, beer, Busch Light. Go ahead.
for those listeners who aren't from Iowa? What's Iowa Nice? What is that?
So Iowa Nice, the best example I've ever heard of it is a couple of years back, Iowa was playing in a preseason tournament in Madison Square Garden. And the example I heard was there was this New Yorker, and we all know a stereotypical New Yorker,
Oh, yeah.
running around with a map. And he was looking for something, looking for,
Hey, where the hell is it?
right.
I thought it was right here.
Right, this building or whatever where he had a job interview. And the Iowa fans that were walking to Madison Square Garden stopped to help him find it. So now a New Yorker who, so how they're used to it is how I heard the story is they took it as them being rude. Because they're like, oh yeah, I think it's up around the corner here. Let me see the map. Let me pull it up on my phone. They're doing all this to try and help the guy.
Yeah.
But in reality, the guy wanted to hear yay or nay. So he could
really?
keep going and find somebody who can help him. And so this New Yorker got all pissed off because these guys were trying to help him and obviously didn't know where the hell he was going either. That's probably the best example of Iowa Nice I can think of.
Yeah.
Love it.
I would
Rob,
say.
Yeah. What's your take, Rob?
Well, we talked about being Iowa Nice at we're at work actually. So I mean, basically just giving people the benefit of the doubt.
Wait, you don't do Hawkeyes and Tallboys full time?
I got a day job until we get picked up by ESPN. Until we get big, I gotta pay the bills. But I'm it's basically just like the way I look at it is like if you stopped at a stop sign and one of the people is from Iowa, they'd be like, "Oh no, you can go. No, after you, Ope." You know what I mean? So like that's how I look at it, just like being overly nice, like too nice to strangers. It's funny, I'm from Illinois, and when I first started dating my girlfriend Angela, we would be out places and stuff, and no matter where we were in Chicago, we were in Peoria, where I'm from, or in Washington, or if we were like, in Iowa City, even like she'd be like, trying to help somebody with, like, oh, well, let me help you. And I'm like, no, don't talk to him. I'm like, no, I think this is a street urchin, or, believe this man is going to be sleeping on the street here tonight. So there's no need to help him. You know what I mean? Because I'm just like in more like protector mode, Yeah, exactly. And so, but that's like Iowa nice, just like going out of your way. Like, I can tell you a story, actually. This is probably a little bit out of the way, but anyways, Angela's driving to work, and this is something that, by the way, that I'm not Iowa nice. I'm a nice guy. You can come and talk to me. I'm pretty easy to talk to, but like, I don't really go out of my way to try to help people, unless I'm like on the clock. You know what I mean?
Whoa, true colors come out here.
But yeah, but no, I mean, like, but for instance, like Angela is driving to her job, and she saw a guy running on the side of the road, a stranger, after a bus who obviously he had missed the bus. And like, she pulled over and was like, hey, sir, hop in. I'll take you to the next bus stop so you can catch this bus. And like, so the stranger man got into Angela's car with her alone, and she drove him to the next bus stop. Now, do I agree with that? No. But that's a perfect example of Iowa nice. That's what Iowa nice is.
Shout out Angela letting us use her house.
Beautiful
and Rob's
kitchen.
house. Beautiful kitchen area.
Yeah.
But for
Thank
this
you.
live broadcast. So.
When I think of a Hawkeye, guys, I'll make this short and sweet. The best word that I can think of is tradition. I love traditional. Just to put it in context, the football team, you think of Kirk Ferentz bringing in 2-3-star guys and develop them into young men that become, greater than football in life. They become successful because of what they learned here. And that even goes to the students too. The city of Iowa City is a beautiful city, great city to live in, grow up in, I guess, as far as a college town goes too, great college town. But other than that, I think really the big thing is tradition. That's a great word for me.
Iowa City, where boys become men. I love it.
There you
love go. It, Bo. Another quote from our buddy Tom over in Solon. So you guys might have seen this. I don't know if this was a recent quote from the Big Ten bus tour, but our friend, offensive coordinator Brian Ferentz, so the other day he compared a block. So they asked him what a perfect block was. And
like a run block?
Yeah, like a run block. So he's got a lot of experience on the offensive line.
Oh, yeah, this is awesome.
And so he came up with a story when they were taking their 2001 trip to Wisconsin, and Iowa's bus hit a deer on Highway 151. And so Ferentz said, and I quote, "It looked like somebody shoved a hand grenade up." Let me restart that. "It looked like somebody shoved a hand grenade up the deer's ass," he said. "It was just gone. It was like vaporized. It wasn't even like you called a state patrol. Hey, you've got to come move this carcass. No, we've got to wash the bus. That's how it should be when you block guys." I love it. Literally, Brian Ferentz, so many people were so pissed off. Here's Dylan's rant for today. So many people were pissed off at this hire. And frankly, it was just asinine to me. I heard nothing but, oh, it's nepotism. Oh, it's Ferentz's kid. Oh, we're getting 25 more years of conservative football, blah, 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 bullshit. When this guy has been under Bill Belichick for the last 10 years or whatever it was, the dude's a stud. He's already brought his touch into the Iowa Hawkeye offense. Yes, it's traditional Hawkeye ground and pound, but you're seeing a lot more of that Patriots-esque in there. We're using the tight ends, using the slot receivers and that sort of thing, and having a good run game to go along with it. So it's still a pro-style offense, but you're seeing some of those spread components come in, and that is all Brian Ferentz. It's no more of the, PA bootlegs that you see, not the jet sweep. What did they call it? That screen.
Tunnel screen.
The tunnel screen. They called it jet screen, wasn't it? Jet sweep? Jet screen?
Jet sweep, yeah.
Sure.
Whatever.
Sure.
And that used to be a staple of the Ken O'Keefe and Kirk Ferentz playbook. So you'll still see it once every 4 games or whatever, but my point being, he has taken what he learned under Bill Belichick and applied it to college football, and it's frankly seen a lot of success. Now, have we won a Big Ten title? No. Has he have a lot to prove yet? Absolutely. But he's been an offensive coordinator for the last 2 years, a run game coordinator the year before that. give him time. He is literally Kirk Ferentz with a fucking mouth on him, and I love it. Oh my God. So I love this quote. I love it. Our offensive linemen should be obliterating D linemen, getting to that next level. And we're going to have a lot of big plays this year thanks to our studly offensive line. Go ahead, fellas.
I would say, like, with Brian Ferentz, we talked about this before. If you guys remember, before the season last year, we talked about, it's going to be the second year under Brian Ferentz, or what are we going to see here? He's going to open it up a little bit more. And frankly, like, the talent that we had at tight end, I think was a little bit underutilized, and I think everyone would probably agree with that. But at the same time, like, I think another year under him, like, I mean, it's hard, I feel like, to design plays for the talent that you have for just this one instant. You know what I mean? We're like, I didn't expect Hawkinson to break out the way that he did. And he did, and then now he's a first-round draft pick. So, like, now he's got a completely new set of personnel. I think it's going to be just the same offense that we ran last year with a little bit more. Like, I think he would just up the ante a little bit because it's just another full year under the same offense. So,
I just saw one of the comments. Hey, I don't see any tall boys. You might not be able to tell from the depth perception, but this is absolutely 16 ounces, bud. So.
This is 16 fluid ounces of Iowa water.
A bush
right.
latte.
Bush
Bush
latte.
latte is what they call it.
We've had a hard week of work. Don't judge us.
But anyways, half the reason that we like doing this podcast is we get to drink together.
Right.
But
Absolutely.
back to my point. What I'm saying is, like, I'm excited for Brian Ferentz. I mean, I love, like, his quote, like, here, obviously just showing, like, his aggressiveness. And I think that it's something to look forward to with the personnel that we have on the roster.
And the kids, and you heard it too, when we had Parker Hesse and Sam Brinks on the show over the summer, those guys on the O-line, those guys on the offense, they would run through a brick wall for that guy.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I need to hear.
They do talk a lot about attitude and effort. Yep. So
that's from the Kirk Ferentz media school. But come on, we remember that. Remember Parker and Sam said it themselves, they can't put, what was all the rules? They can't put unwanted expectations on people.
Oh, they can't call any individual player out.
Right? Yep. Yeah, that's like, if you notice that when we were on the Big Ten Roadshow, they were talking like, hey, Tristan, who are your freshmen that are coming up on the offensive line? Oh, we got a lot of offensive linemen stepping up here.
It's really great why the old guys teach the young guys.
Exactly. Yeah. The old
guys.
What is that?
It's like robotics.
Yeah.
Alaric and, some of the seniors are really bringing those offensive linemen along. Like, Tyler Linderbaum has been announced the starting center after being a defensive lineman the first half of his first year with Iowa.
Yeah.
Say him. That's fine. Everybody knows he's going to start. Oh, yeah, Tyler Linderbaum's really coming on. I would appreciate that more than, we got some of these guys here, and they're, really doing the best they can. And, some of them are going to start and some of them won't, but that's just okay.
Yeah. Classic
it's like, dude, Kirk Ferentz just pulling a page out of Bill Belichick's book almost.
Yes. We're on to Cincinnati.
We're on
to Indiana. We're on to Illinois.
And we're on to the running back depth chart.
Yes.
Did you have any thoughts?
No, I didn't. Honestly, I was going to kick it off straight to the overall depth chart. What we thought about the depth chart. I like the running back, but might as well cover all of them, right?
I totally agree.
So
Should we just start from the top?
We'll start at running back, and then player to watch in the offense. We'll go to defense, and then player to watch in the defense, and see where we go.
Perfect.
From there. But Rob, how about you kick us off with the running backs?
Perfect. Yep. So it's going to be the same faces that we saw last year. Mekhi Sargent is listed as the starting running back, and then behind him we got Torn Young, and then obviously Ivory Kelly Martin, who started the season in the starting role last year. And unfortunately, Ivory Kelly Martin ran into an injury, and I don't remember if it was his
ankle.
Ankle?
I think it was ankle. Yep.
Yeah, because I knew it wasn't knee.
Yep.
So we're not looking at an Adrian Peterson situation, but what we're looking at is so we didn't really get to see much of Ivory Kelly Martin, and what we did see was just against a couple of Northern Illinois and then somebody else, and one of the early games. So we really didn't get to see a lot of what he had to offer. So what we were left with was Mekhi Sargent, who was more of I viewed him as a third down back, or he's a little bit smaller, more agile. But he does hit the hole really hard. And then you got Torn Young, who's a little bit bigger of a back, and I feel like he's not quite as fast. as Mekhi Sargent, but he's a bruiser, and he really knows how to finish off runs with the lowering his shoulder pads at the end. And we really saw that. And it reminded me of Jordan Canzeri a little bit.
Oh, okay. I really like that comparison, Rob, because I was kind of going to go off the same thing. And you guys might remember from some of our preseason episodes last year that, my big thing with Ivory Kelly-Martin and Torrin Young was talking about that 1-2 punch similar to like the LaShawn Daniels and the Akram Wadley. Obviously, I turned out to be wrong because Ivory ended up getting hurt, and we saw a little bit more, and then we saw Mekhi Sargent really jump on the scene. But from the last Kirk Ferentz interview we heard, it sounds like Sargent and Torrin Young are the clear number ones.
Yep.
And then so in that third string spot, you're going to see Ivory Kelly-Martin now decimated with injuries. Expect to see him. Now, where a couple surprise players to watch, and I don't know if I would put them as my players to watch on offense necessarily, but a couple guys to look at. We got Tyler Goodson, recruit out of Solony, Georgia, I believe it is. And then we got Shedrick Bird. Shedrick, whatever it is.
Run with it.
Anyways, I've already messed up a few names, so you guys got me all self-conscious, fuckers. Anyways.
Hey, we'll pronounce it, one way until we learn it's wrong.
So now that's what Ferentz essentially has a free trial run with these guys the first few weeks. See what they got early on, see if they can burst on the scene. I think of like Mikael McCall, like way a few years back, he ended up breaking his ankle, but was tearing it up first game of the year. So Ferentz has no problem giving those, freshman running backs a chance, especially starting the season like that. Why not? Let's see what they got. Let's see if that Tyler Goodson can be that big playmaker for us, be that big spark, because I think that's what we're lacking. I think we have three really solid backs in Torrin Young, Mekhi Sargent, and Ivory Kelly-Martin. But I think we lack that home run threat there. And it showed last year when we had 8 plays over 20 yards or something like that.
Yeah.
I think that's what this offense is missing. And that's going to get us up to that, 4.8, 5 yards a carry.
Because I think last year, didn't we end the season with 3.5 or 3.8 yards?
Yeah, we were less than 4.
I thought we got up into the 4s.
No, it was less than 4. For sure.
Okay.
But you guys,
I would say it was the biggest area of improvement.
Oh, absolutely.
That was, or our biggest weakness last year.
But I think that we're working. Honestly, though, if we get our average up in the 4s, I think we for sure win 9 games. And we'll get into predictions a little bit later on. But one running back I'd like to compare to an old Hawkeye. I'd like to compare Mekhi Sargent to our birthday boy today, Sean Green.
Oh,
you guys are going to
what?
Yes, big take.
The GOAT?
Listen to this. I think Mekhi has the size, he has the agility of Akram Wadley, but I think that he's able to break tackles and get out in the open field like Sean Green was able to. Sean Green obviously had a few more pounds on him, but the guy was slippery as shit. I think he's one of the best running backs.
Ooh, and that Mekhi's bulked up this year.
Yeah, and see, this is why I get the comparison. I think he's going to be able to break more tackles and slide away from defenders yards after being touched the first time. That's why I like to see that. But I think he's going to be more of a first, second down back, where more Torrin Young's going to be a third down guy, bruiser up the hole. Where else I can see in like a game Iowa against Wisconsin, I can see Torrin Young being the big back to go bruise down the Wisconsin defense, kind of like the old style against old style type deal.
Sure.
I bet they'll use them differently in different game plans.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
Obviously, we're going into Nate Stanley's senior year, and I feel like that although he's poised to, if he just repeats, excuse me, I didn't mean to burp in the mic. If he just repeats what he does last year,
we're drinking, folks. Sorry.
If he just repeats what he did last year, he's got a good chance to be the all-time touchdown leader in Iowa history. But in my personal opinion, I think that he's got a lot to live up to, and he's got 1 year to kind of almost prove it. You know what I mean? Like, he's got the frame, and I feel like he knows the offense well enough, and I just think he needs to put it all together. I wouldn't say that last year was an outstanding season for Nate Stanley, but I would say that he was a solid quarterback. But like, we all know that his potential is to be so much more than that, and I want him to take that step this year. He's definitely somebody who could be in the NFL, and I want to see him throw some. I'd like to see them put up points this year is what I mean. I'd like to see Nate Stanley throw for 3-4 touchdowns, through a
game.
I mean, that would be shocking if he did that, but they can.
But I think, we have the receiving core to do that. And I like to think that he had like a sophomore slump, right? So he had a great sophomore year. his junior year comes up and has like the second year starter sophomore slump, right?
And that's why you look at that. His stats weren't even that bad.
No, and they weren't even
just
that
like
bad.
perceived sophomore slump because he had a couple bad games.
Because he makes
Co-op.
mistakes, I feel
Right.
like.
Right.
But here's the deal: like, didn't he get injured during the Penn State game with that thumb?
Yeah, thumb.
Yeah.
If you think about this, he comes back this year, no thumb injury. I think he's pretty dangerous. I think the sky is the limit for Nate Stanley. I
Me
think
too.
He's going to have a phenomenal year this year.
But he left. I mean, he kind of the way his career is gone. It's like this is kind of it.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like I heard the other day, and I'm going to repeat it, and I apologize. I don't remember who said it, but it's like this could be the season that everyone remembers Nate Stanley for being like a legendary quarterback, or this could be the season that he just ends up being like an average, another list of
Iowa
another
quarterback,
Iowa quarterback.
You know, and this
Not
is
to put any pressure on the man if he's listening. I love you, Nate, but we want you to prove it, and we know you can do it.
and this is probably unfair to put on him, but I really feel like Iowa fans, if he doesn't take us to a Big Ten title game this year, there's going to be a lot of what ifs in regards to Nate Stanley. And I don't know if that's fair necessarily, but
That's what you sign up for.
I think that's what it is. I think it's, Big Ten West title or bust this year for him. So, obviously we'll see if he can live up to the hype, and I'm looking forward to it. What do you think, Bo?
Yeah, no, I agree. I guess I don't have anything else to add on that because I think Nate Stanley is a premier quarterback. I don't agree that he's the 51st best quarterback in this.
That's
year.
asinine. Okay,
I know,
I
yeah,
can go
that's
on a rant
ridiculous.
about that.
Yeah, feel free to.
like who the hell? Okay, so he had a few bad games last year. You're still talking about he's the 51st best quarterback in the FBS in regards to like playing at the next level. That is absolutely asinine.
Dumb.
No, he's Big Ben Roethlisberger reincarnated as a quarterback. He's
Minus the rape allegation.
Jesus. Wow, okay, here we are. But yeah, no, I to put him at 51. I get he had a couple slip ups there, but whoever wrote that article had to have been somewhat of an Iowa hater, which is fine. I get that, but because you had guys that haven't even played a snap yet that were like in the top 10. So that's where that guy lost all credibility with me. So if you're listening, go F yourself.
Dill, you want to take
Wow.
Dill, you want to take us through what the O line's going to look like for this year?
Yeah, O-line's going to be Studley. So right now we got the 2 tackle spots pretty much locked up in Alaric Jackson and Tristan Wirfs. Center spots pretty much locked up with Tyler Linderbaum, the stolen defensive line standouts. The guards are where things get a little bit interesting right now because we got both Paulson brothers, in the hunt. I think right now, who do we got? Landon.
Cole Bannon.
And yep.
Landon at one of the guards, and then
And then
Cole
Levi.
Banward at the other guard.
Mhm.
And so Cole, he's played a little bit everywhere on that offensive line, so he's got a lot of experience coming in. I think he ends up getting in there, and then I think it's going to be one of the Paulson brothers. So I do think one of the Paulsons, after their, good career at Iowa, I think one of them get left out of the starting lineup, but nonetheless, like every other position in Iowa, you got to be ready, next man in. So
Yep.
I think that offensive line is going to be Studley. I think they're deep. I think we're going to be able to run the ball. I think pass protection is going to continue to be phenomenal. Where they did lack a little bit last year was in that rushing. And obviously, that's kind of the biggest part of it. And Coach Polasek, took that a little bit on himself where, like we said, we think they fall just a little bit under 4 yards of carry last year.
Yep.
So he came out and said he wanted them to be at a minimum. It was like 4.6 or 4.7 yards of carry. Now that's a drastic improvement.
Yeah.
So, might that happen? Maybe not, but, shoot for the stars, fall a little bit short. I'm still going to be damn happy. So kind of like we talked about earlier, we need more of a home run threat, and that starts right up front. And I think these guys have the ability to do it. Now it's just got to all come together. As far as that goes, we were just talking about the line, weren't we?
Yeah, well, it's surprising to me because how much if you're I don't know, I feel like I'd be preaching to the choir, anybody who pays attention to football at all, but like it's shocking how much, like, if you average 3.8 to 4.5 yards a carry, we're not even talking about a yard, but like if you're ripping off 4.5, 5 yards a carry, like when you're running the ball, like things are moving. You're moving the chains. You can run, pass, like a play action pass off of things like that, like a power that we always run. And it's just like that kind of stuff just opens up the offense. And that's what we weren't able to get. I felt like too many times last year, which one, probably this led to close games, and then two, us unable to close out games. We should have closed out Wisconsin last year and Northwestern
Why did you
and
remind me?
Penn State. All
Shots
these
fired.
teams we should have. If you look at the scores, it doesn't tell the true tale. But regardless, what I'm saying is, like, if we can do that this year, those close games are going to be ours because our defense, I feel like, is going to be as good or better than they were last year. And I feel like our offense is more talented than they were last year.
Absolutely.
Now we got a tougher schedule, and that's what we're going to be up against.
So really, you think our offense is more talented without Noah Fant and TJ Hawkinson?
The only reason why I'm saying that is because it's one more year with this receiving core.
Okay.
So I have confidence. I have much more confidence in Brandon Smith and Amir Smith-Marsette, and I'm really excited to see what these freshmen are going to be able to do because it sounds like that they're kind of they're fast.
Mm-hmm. And I didn't mean to sound like I was condescending to you at all.
No, you're good.
Because
But the other thing is, next man up.
Yeah. Well, and
for
you
these tight
think
ends.
about last year, a lot of teams probably in the Big Ten West would argue that we were essentially a one-trick pony, well, two-trick pony with our tight ends.
Right.
If Hawkins
And I would honestly agree.
If Fant wasn't open, we had nothing.
Because we weren't running the ball very well. And, like, I don't feel like we really gave Amir Smith-Marsette and Brandon Smith a lot of
Credit.
or I feel like opportunity to, like, I don't know how many targets they got. I feel like obviously it was eaten in. I mean, Hawkinson and Fant were kind of eaten into those targets.
Mm-hmm.
And if it were me, like, I don't know. I feel like I would just run plays where both tight ends are on a seam or both tight ends are running combination routes in order to, because there's no way that you're going to be able to cover both of them, in my opinion. But I mean, like, obviously you're going to have to run the ball. You're going to have to run other plays, and none of those other plays seem to be working very well. So that's my own opinion. And honestly, like, maybe I'm just looking at, maybe I just only remember from last year, like, the crappy plays or the third and longs that we didn't get. And I'm like, I really want them to do so well that, like, I feel like I hang on to the times that we didn't make it so I don't jinx it.
Yeah.
So, like, but, I mean, I feel like there was a time where Brandon Smith, I think, had like a one-handed catch for a touchdown in the corner of the end zone last year, which really, like, kind of opened my eyes to, like, a little bit of what they could do. So
Same thing with Amir Smith-Marsette against Northwestern when he had that catch on the sideline too. That tiptoe catch too. That was pretty sweet.
they're talented guys. I just think they need opportunity, and hopefully this year it will be kind of a little bit better. But
this year they'll get it.
And speaking on that too, sorry to interrupt here too. I would say let's just go straight into the receiving core.
Oh, the receiving core? Okay.
Yeah. So we talked a little bit. We talked a little bit about those.
We're on the same page.
Yeah. Why don't we go straight into the younger guys, right? So we got Tyrone Tracy.
Yep.
Okay. We got Nico Reganey.
Yep.
Who else we got?
Max Cooper.
Max Cooper. He'll be another one. Let's talk about these guys.
So another guy that stepped up. Oh God, I'm gonna have to look it up. I apologize, all. Go ahead and keep
thanks for
talking.
joining
There
us,
is-
Eric Rowling. Appreciate it.
Nope. Well, Calvin Lockett will be another one that he'll have a good year. No, there's a freshman that's kind of came on that Kirk Ferentz said something about recently.
Oliver Martin.
No.
Well,
Oliver Martin's gonna be
he's going to be the icing on the cake for this receiving core. While you look that up, I'll say, so obviously we talked a little bit about Brandon Smith and Amir Marset. They're not new. Yep. They're guys that are going to be the veterans of this group, showing them the ropes. And then you got in the slot is where they're putting the freshmen. Mm-hmm. And so on 3 wide sets and things like that, we're going to see Tyrone Tracy and Nico Reganey. I would imagine they would get an equal shot unless one of them catches fire.
I see a lot of Nick Easley and Nico Reganey, but bigger size, bigger frame, and bigger hands too. So I see a lot of that. And honestly, I think I even see a little bit better of a Nick Easley. Sorry, Nick Easley, if you're listening.
Higher ceiling.
Nico Reganey is 6 foot, 185.
So
it says
probably about the exact size.
Maybe
out of Connecticut.
Maybe
I'm kind of with you though. I think he has that higher upside as well.
Yeah.
Nothing against Nick Easley by any means, but anyways, I found that name that we were discussing.
Yeah.
So 3-star wide receiver out of Raytown, Missouri, offered by absolutely nobody in typical Kirk Ferentz diamond in the rough fashion. Desmond Hudson has apparently been tearing it up.
Yes.
So he stands at 6'4", 195. Now that's coming in, or that was his high school weight. So hopefully he's put on some pounds over the summer and whatnot. But apparently he's going to get some touches. Now at 6'4", he's going to be a hard one to keep off the field, especially in, third down, late game situations. Now, sticking a true freshman in a slot like that, might be a tough spot for him. But, because the only other guy that touches 6'4", that's Brandon Smith, right?
Yeah.
And he might even be 6'3".
I'm checking right now. I know Calvin Lockett is behind Brandon Smith, and he's 6'2". Yeah, Brandon Smith is 6'3", 205.
So that's what you got. Those two tall guys that can come in there, and apparently he's been tearing it up this camp. So another name to watch.
Cool. Hey, first off, too, before while we take a small break here, I just want to say, Tyler Carson, good to see you, buddy. He says he's a longtime listener, first-time commenter. Wanted to say, keep up the good work and go Hawks. Shock the nation. So, right. Tito, we appreciate you, man. Thanks for the listen. Thanks for the comment.
That's what, and looks like Seth as well here. Seth, who we discussed earlier in the show. I'm not sure if he's still listening or not, but wanted to give you a quick shout-out too, buddy. Go Hawk guys. Nice.
All right.
Perfect. So yeah, let's jump to the defense real quick. First off, on the defense, obviously we got a lot of names coming back here too.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't we just jump into our favorite person or maybe the biggest impact player on the defense here? First off, everyone knows AJ Epinesa is going to be on the top of the list. Other than AJ Epinesa, who do you guys say is going to be maybe the most outstanding defensive player?
I got this one. Chauncey Golston. AJ Epinesa is going to take about 1,000 double teams this year, leaving Chauncey Golston open to just tear it up this year. He is absolutely my player to watch on this defense, primarily when he's on that other defensive end. And he's going to get some time in that D tackle spot too. And he already showed last year that he was a hell of a pass rusher, and he was a little bit overshadowed by AJ Epinesa and his freakish season that he had last year. So, absolutely, my pick to click. I think he ends up being Hawkeyes defensive MVP this year.
Wow. Big pick here.
Bold
Rob?
statement.
So my person that I would pick to be the defensive MVP is going to be Kayvon Merriweather, sophomore in free safety. I heard a lot of great things about him in camp. He's got the frame, that he's got the speed in order to play free safety. I think that he's somebody who's going to be able to make a lot of tackles in the backfield and, in the not in the backfield, but I mean, towards the back half of this defense. And I think it's going to be because we have such a great D line. So he's going to be able to go on like stunts and things like that, which I look forward to seeing, our D line is unbelievable. Mm-hmm. And little known fact, AJ Epinesa is going to be starting his first game in August
Nuts.
Versus Miami.
So one good point I did hear about that, Rob, and I don't mean to interrupt, but
sure.
I kind of do. My bad. So AJ Epinesa, we heard a lot about that. So now with him being on the field, every play, how do you guys feel that's going to fatigue him long term? And then does that affect his stats on the season and likely his, draft stock, leaving early?
Excellent question. I think we'll find out at halftime against Miami. But honestly, he's said himself that he's been training all summer to be in condition to be able to play like that. And he's going to be somebody that everybody already knows about. So they're going to be looking for him. So we'll see how he reacts. I think this is going to be a big kind of prove it season for him. And that's one thing that I don't like about having all these preseason ranks and stuff. But I mean, it's no secret that what he did last year and the type of work ethic that he's capable of. And he's somebody that's going to be the leader of this defense for sure.
And how many first teams, preseason All-Americans, things of that nature has he been on? I mean, he's already been on 3, 4, 5 first
never
teams.
started a game.
Never started a game.
Yep.
Led the Big Ten in sacks last year too. So my defensive MVP is going to be a guy we talked about a lot last year, Jamon Colbert. I think he is –
Digimon.
He is going to be a stud. First off, he's got a year of experience under his belt. Number two, he's coming in as an outside linebacker who can make some noise. He can cover running backs. He's quick. He even got stronger. He cut down a little bit of weight this year. I think he's going to be an absolute unit this year for this defense.
So now, Bo, I would almost argue, and this might be putting it a little harshly, but I'm going to go ahead and say it anyways, that our linebackers might have been our kryptonite last year.
You think so?
So how are they going to turn that around? Say you believe that, because I thought our defensive line was pretty solid last year. I thought our secondary was pretty solid last
For
year.
our linebacker core. I think the biggest thing with linebacker core is they didn't have a whole lot of experience. This year we come back with 3 big-time linebackers. We got Nick Neiman is actually going to try and get some playing time. I don't know. Is he a starter? Did you check the –
So he's
last I saw, he's not even listed as starter.
he's back. He's behind Christian Welch in the middle linebacker spot.
Yeah,
but
so-
wasn't he dealing with an injury a little bit last
He
year?
was. After the first 3 games, he was. So
Okay.
that's a good point. Christian Welch is going to be back. Jamon Colbert's another one. Barrington Wade got some playing time last year, and I believe he's actually in a starting role right now.
Mhm.
Right.
He's outside linebacker too.
Ahead of
So-
Amani Jones.
Yes. And now Amani Jones is going to play that DN.
The end.
And yeah,
Is that what
he's been practicing with the DNs all spring?
now is he taking? So this is my
Or
question.
all spring and fall.
Because so on third downs is when AJ Epinesa came in and just wreaked havoc. Is that going to be what they're going to try to put Amani in?
God, I hope
I
so.
wonder.
I want that for him.
Yes.
That, or do you put him on both ends?
Well,
right?
that's what they had another end they've been talking about in camp too. That's supposed to be blowing it up. Walk on Joe Evans.
Yeah.
Huh.
So they're talking about him being another just simply pass rush
He's
specialist.
an
So
Iowa guy.
they are, dude, they are going to have so many people rotating in and out. That D line's going to be fresh all the time. They're going to absolutely wreak havoc. So what I worry about is the linebacking core being able to fill gaps and essentially support them in that, because last year our leading tackler was Jake Travas.
Yeah.
And that's
which
kind
is
of
good.
and that's kind of where I come and say, hey, I think our linebackers might have been somewhat of our kryptonite.
Yeah.
So
And one other thing to put onto that too, I think the defensive line is going to be studded. I mean, a lot of great players, but one of my favorites is going to be Davion Nixon. I think Davion Nixon is going to be a brutal force up middle.
yeah,
as D
I think
tackle.
he's another Jaleel Johnson.
Yeah, agreed.
Slightly less recruited, but
Yep.
one that barely eligible. Had to go JUCO route for a year, but he's back. He's ready to rock, and sounds like he's excited.
Davion Nixon is the behind Brady Reef in the
senior
right
tackle.
tackle. Yeah.
Yep.
So he'll be a name to look out for sure. He's a sophomore transfer.
Another question we did have from, and this all ties together, but from one of our buddies, Mueller, out of Mount Vernon, Iowa, home of
The
Matt Kroll
Mustangs.
and the
Matt
Mustangs.
Crank.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
I
And the Mustang.
So he was curious, guys, starting free safety, Merriweather or Jack Corner?
And Rob, I think you touched on this. If you want to go ahead and talk about Merriweather, it sounds
Yep.
like he was one of your guys.
Yep, Merriweather's my guy. He's a young kid. I know that he's fast and he's big, and he's somebody that they're actually excited about. And I think that they've intentionally not talked about him. I heard him mentioned early in the off season about somebody that I don't remember who said it, but there was an interview that they were saying, oh, one guy, Kayvon Merriweather, is going to be somebody to look out for in this coming year, and so I'm excited to see him get. Obviously, he's listed. He's been running with the first team, and so I'd like to see what he can do on the defensive end. So I mean, on the defensive side of the ball, I said, and I know obviously he's playing free safety, but yeah. So he's going to be somebody who I'm excited about, and that's why. Now, corner, you said.
Yeah, so Jack Corner, so he's true freshman out of Dowling, West Des Moines, Iowa.
He's not even listed on the depth
Yep,
chart
not
as
even
of that.
listed
but
yet. But
I don't know too much about him, to be
Yeah,
honest.
and that's okay. He's been just tearing it up in camp, and I don't think really anybody outside of the Des Moines area knew about this guy until a day ago when Phil Parker came out and said, "Yeah, Jack Corner's one who's really pushing, Kayvon for that starting spot."
Good for him.
And it's like, holy shit! Like, where does that come from? You got to walk on. And now, like I said, you talk to anybody that's not from the Des Moines area, they don't know who this guy is. Everybody in the Des Moines area knew this guy's been, well above his pay grade for the last 4 years with Dowling. And so he's probably got 4 state titles under his belt,
Just
But-
an athlete. Just an
Right,
athlete.
Just an overall athlete.
But-
And, just that typical, I don't want to say white safety that Iowa seems to have, but it seems like that's, how it ends up sometimes. And, just a hell of a football player. I'm excited for him. Nonetheless, I think Kayvon gets the nod, and I think Kayvon, he's got more years in the system. I think he ends up, being that long-term guy that's going to be a little bit of a better fit. Now, if you're telling me that both of these guys can get some playing time this year, I think that's going to be the best thing for the team long-term. And,
Yeah.
Because what's Kayvon's
a
He's-
sophomore.
So he's only a sophomore.
He's a
Okay.
sophomore, but he's big, and
But-
that's why I like him back there. He's 6'2", and so if you're talking about somebody who's going to be a ball hawk, similar to like maybe a Josh Jackson, that's what I'm like. I wouldn't say I wouldn't put that on that I'm expecting that out of him, but I'd like to see him make strides in that direction.
Well, and being in that Doyle strength and conditioning program, could he maybe be, a fit for that cash spot here in a year or two when DJ Johnson graduates and have a corner come in and play safety? We've seen those walk-ons come in and play safety and do a damn good job. You think Brett Greenwood? You think Jake Gervais? You think it was right before Jake Gervais? I know I'm thinking Brandon Snyder was before that, but then there was somebody in between. Brandon Snyder. Oh, I said Brandon Snyder.
Yeah, Brandon Snyder was the one. There's one more in between Brett Greenwood and Brandon Snyder, though.
I'm not sure.
So you've had some walk-on safeties come in and have success in Phil Parker's defense, and I think that's going to continue. So
Cool. Do we have any more questions that we can get into?
well, we did want to give a quick shout out. So not sure if he's still listening or not, but we had Tyler Ellsbury, Iowa commit recruit. He's going to be joining the class in the
2020.
Swarm of 2020.
Yep.
Offensive lineman out of
Byron, Illinois.
Byron.
I was going to say
Shout out Byron.
I was going to say Orion. So
Ooh.
Byron, Illinois. Is that their rivals?
No, I don't even know who the rival is. I
Oh,
think
okay.
Geneva, maybe.
You guys want another?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
Okay.
got one.
Let's do another beer if you got one.
Yeah, I got him. Keep going, guys.
But yeah,
I got him.
just wanted to give a shout out to you, Tyler. Pumped you're a Hawkeye. Yeah. Even if your brother Nick wasn't that pumped for you.
Hey, Nick's a great guy. Shout out to the Ellsbury clan, baby. Here we go.
So awesome. But kind of moving into this next spot here while Rob grabs us another beer. We're a little thirsty. Mel Kiper's big board. He had AJ Epinesa listed as number 5 overall and Tristan Wirfs listed as number 7 overall.
Yep.
Now, if that's how it ends up shaking out, Bo, the impact on recruiting will be outrageous. That we get 2 first-rounders in 2 straight years. You think, who else has done that? You think Alabama, you think Ohio State, you think Florida State,
Clemson, maybe.
Clemson. You think some elite programs. So I think, if Iowa goes and does that, I think the recruiting uptick would be massive.
Oh, absolutely. And I think first off.
Oh, did we already crack them?
Oh, sorry, guys.
Whoa.
Beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
Beautiful.
Love
and
that.
I honestly think, Iowa's known as tight end U right now, but honestly, between Iowa and Wisconsin, I'd beg to say that we're almost O-line U too. So just say we get AJ Epinesa and Tristan Wirfs, and even Alaric Jackson could be potential first rounder as well. I think that could pull a lot of strings away from the Wisconsin pipeline coming down to the state of Iowa to become O-line U on top of being tight end U.
Well, if you're in that position in the high school and you're somebody who's coming up like as a highly touted offensive lineman, there's no way you're not looking at Iowa, especially with Kirk Ferentz being a former offensive line coach.
Absolutely.
I feel like if it was me, yeah, you're always going to have the Michigans and the Ohio States who are going to give you a shot. But Jack Doyle, Jack, right?
That's his son, Coach Chris Doyle.
Dylan Doyle's the kid.
Who's Jack Doyle?
Jack Doyle?
Is that
Jack Doyle's an NFL
tight end,
for the
yeah.
Colts.
Yeah, for the Colts.
Yeah, you
right?
guys play fantasy football, don't
Yeah,
you?
my apologies. But yeah, obviously Coach Doyle is the number 1 paid strength and conditioning coach, and for a good reason.
Mm-hmm.
And he's somebody who is just time and time again proven himself in this area. So I feel like there's no way that you can't count us with like the best schools, not only in the Big Ten, but in the nation. So
Yep.
I feel like it's they call us tight end U, but a lot of these receivers end up being tight ends.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I'm with it. So yeah, I think tight end U.
I kind of came in the middle of that, but
You're
yeah.
okay. O-line U, national championship. Nice.
And that's a good thing. And that's what you want.
Right.
I mean, if you're talking about like if you're looking at any sort of program and building a program and building a dynasty and the things that Kirk Ferentz has done for Iowa, I mean, it all starts with the winning the war in the trenches.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like you can't win games if you don't have a good O-line to be able to, give your quarterback time or create space for a running back. Like it's just basic. It's basic football, guys.
That's right.
It's
Gosh
X's
darn
and
it,
O's,
it's basic
baby.
football.
X's
Well, and that's what we still even got one more. And so this one comes from Mike. out of Swisher, Iowa. Mike also happens to be my father. So
Hiker.
he doesn't have Facebook, so he can't see me.
Big
But
ups.
he'll listen to the podcast probably tomorrow morning on his way to work. So,
All right.
but he wants to know, guys, who do you think is the best overall unit in regards to the offense, defense, and special teams this year? For me, I think it's absolutely no question. Our defense is going to be far and away better than offense and special teams. I think that D-line is going to be top-notch. The linebackers all come back with experience. You have a Phil Parker coach secondary, so they're going to have success. They're going to have some unknown pop up this year that goes off and all of a sudden gets drafted like Josh Jackson. So I think defense by far. I think everybody who comes into Kinnick especially is going to have trouble scoring on us. But the number one thing that you need going into tough environments, which Iowa has tough home games this year at Wisconsin, at Nebraska, at Northwestern, etc., at Michigan. So the number one thing you need is a tough D, and we got it. So Hawk fans, get excited. Our D is going to be off the charts.
I think I'd like to jump in here and just say I do like your comment about the defense there, Dill, but I'm a big special teams guy. Being a punter myself, I think that special teams is going to be huge. First off, we have two guys competing for kickers this year, right? So extra point last year, we had Miguel Racinos.
Yeah,
right?
Racinos. Yeah.
Racinos had one hell of a year. And it sounds like these two kickers who are competing right now are top of the line. They don't miss. I mean, they're phenomenal, right? And we've had some guys kicking in some big game situations so far. Plus, as we talked about earlier, Michael Sleep Dalton.
Yep.
If that guy continues to be a punting havoc, just say, Nate Stanley did a pretty good job of punting last year. Rastatter, okay. But, when we talk about special teams and we talk about punting, we want to trust the guy, just say we're at the 30-yard line, to get them, beyond their own 20, to start beyond their own 20. So if we can have somebody who can kick the ball, punt the ball all the way down and pin them down deep in there, or even in a big-time situation within the 10 or even the 5-yard line, I think special teams is where it's going to be at this year.
Wow. That's a hot take. That's a hot take.
Love special teams, man.
I'll tell you guys what. I'm going to disagree with both of you guys because, honestly, if you look at obviously, there's going to be talent if you look at our depth chart from any position. So the thing that stands out the most, which would be I would say what most people say would be our defense. I think we did definitely upgrade our special teams, and I'm looking forward to see what that looks like, going into this year. But I feel like the unit that's going to have the highest ceiling and potential is our offense. Yeah. And so I think with a senior quarterback, Nate Stanley, who's been around, who knows the ins and outs of this offense like the back of his hand, is going to be somebody that's going to hopefully, in my opinion, be able to step into the role that we all know that he could be. And I feel like with another year with the running backs that we have, which we know that are talented, and then like a receiving core that I feel like is just waiting to break out. Mm-hmm. I feel like these guys have put in the time, and we got some exciting young talent, and I'm excited to see where the offense takes us. Cool. So I like it. It would, for me, I would bet I would go high risk, high reward and bet on the offense taking the step this year.
So kind of building on that, let's just go straight into season predictions.
Perfect.
Right?
So should we go through each game individually, or should we just do overall? What do you guys think?
I think overall
and then maybe next week, or
Let's do an overall, and then maybe if you want to pick out like a highlight win
or love it.
And then a highlight maybe a loss.
Yep.
You guys good with that?
Love it.
And then we can and then next week, guys, and by the way, everyone who's listeners, we're going to be going weekly now. So this is the kickoff and I think we said, this is obviously months ago, but when we did our off-season special, when we interviewed Parker Hesse and Sam Brinks, love those guys, friends of the podcast. That was an excellent interview, but I think we announced that was the beginning of the second season. And I really feel like that should be categorized as a part of the first season.
Yeah, and a great ending episode of the first season.
Right. And there's really not a lot to talk about. I mean, if you're talking about like June, July, like, May time for the football team, but we'll see what next offseason schedule looks like. But long story short, we're excited to be back weekly so we can break down the games, preview them, and give you everything that you are looking for as a fan.
Perfect. Well, I guess if you don't mind, I guess I'll start off.
Yeah, kick us off, Bo.
So as I said earlier, Rob and Dill, I think Iowa's going to go 9-3. And one big game that I know nobody wants me to say, we're going to go to Ames. It's going to be college game day. It's going to be pandemonium. We're
You
going to
think
see.
it's going to be college game day?
I
100%.
hope it is.
Dude,
I hope it is.
They
Listen to
got,
this.
they got Clemson and Syracuse. The last team Clemson lost to was Syracuse.
Oh,
There's not
cry
a
me a
chance,
fucking
not a chance
river.
in hell.
cry me a rip.
Iowa State fans, I apologize. You will not get a college game day. I'm sorry.
Dude, I'm
it's not
telling
going to happen.
It's teed up to be.
No,
Two-
college game day is going to be in New York. You are wrong.
Iowa State. This is the best team Iowa State has had in the history of the history of the college.
I don't disagree with that, which, okay, actually, I do disagree with that, but totally irrelevant to our argument right now.
Erroneous.
College game day will not be.
Man, that's bold, man.
Nope.
You got two top 25 teams in the state of Iowa playing in a rivalry game in Ames.
And then
That's huge.
you have two more top 25 teams that are playing in Syracuse and Clemson.
Syracuse lost their quarterback, bro. They shouldn't even be ranked right now.
But they are.
Unbelievable. They will not be ranked by that
Assuming
time.
Syracuse.
Ooh, that's a hot
They
take.
will not be ranked by that time.
Oh, that's a very hot take.
I'll throw money on it. They will not be ranked by that
Oh,
time.
Instead of-
actually, so listeners, I know we're dragging on here a bit. Sorry, but
It's okay.
so one of the
kicking
things
it off.
we're gonna do here, yeah, this is our season kickoff, and we're loving it. A new thing we're gonna add this year is we're gonna make bets each week, and so
That's
so,
our
so,
bet.
So this week, yeah, this will be our bet, but this week doesn't really count because I guess we got week 0 games. We can bet on that. Yeah, we're gonna bet on that. Okay, now
Okay.
I think let me look them up real quick.
Okay.
So while we're
Or you
looking
can
up,
do.
I'll finish.
Yeah.
the
Give us
game, little game.
your take on this guy.
So first off, I think we're unfortunately going to lose a very, very, very close game in Ames. I think that's going to be unfortunately
That's
the first loss. It's going to kind of set the tone for the rest of the year. But as we know, Kirk Ferentz, we have an early loss. We come back and we play together as a team. I still think we end 9-3, but with a huge win in Lincoln, Nebraska against Nebraska.
Oh,
That's who I say
gotcha.
we end up having our big one. I think we play Penn State at home. I think we beat Penn State. We go to Wisconsin. We beat Wisconsin at Wisconsin,
I love it.
which is a
I'm gonna
very
be at
tough
that one
take.
too.
Very
Let's
tough
go.
take. But we beat Nebraska at Nebraska, very close game.
So who? Okay, I'm super interested now, Bo. So then
Yep.
tell me, who do you think we drop one
You
to?
guys-
We
you
got
guys-
Iowa State as one
Yep,
loss.
Yep, Michigan's going to be another one.
At Michigan.
And I think
On
this is going to
October
be the
5th.
worst. You guys are going to kill me for this one, guys. Minnesota.
Oh,
I think we've been on a hot streak with Minnesota.
no.
PJ Fleck has that team going.
wrong?
I think we lose a crazy one against Minnesota.
At okay.
Interesting.
At home
Interesting
against
take,
Minnesota, we drop it on November 16th. And when we get to that point, Bo, we can make a bet because I'd love to.
I hope I lose that bet. But
No,
I
for
think
sure.
PJ
No, for
Fleck's
sure.
going to be ready to rock and roll. I think Minnesota's going to be a tough team to beat.
Sure. No, I absolutely. I
PJ
would.
That douchebag thinks he's elite. God, I don't want to hear it.
I would agree with you guys. I mean, it'll be in November.
Yeah.
So it'll be cold. We'll see what it looks like. Okay.
Rob, let's hear it.
So I'll give you my take on the schedule. I also think we're going to be 9-3, but I have a lot different outlook on what we're going to look like. And obviously, this is a grueling schedule. And I said this before, and I'm saying it again. I'm looking through rose-colored glasses because I'm betting on the upside on this team and what they put on paper as far as their depth chart goes. But I say we start off 4-0, and our first loss is at Michigan. So that's a win, counting a win against Iowa State. And when we get there, I'll give you my prediction on what the score is going to be. But I think that we lose to Michigan, and in my highlight win, I would say would be a win at Northwestern.
Team we haven't beaten in a while.
A win
Okay.
at home against Penn State, and we get revenge on Purdue at home.
Yep.
Because Purdue's had it coming for a couple of years.
Fuck those guys.
But I'll tell you, I one loss that I will highlight. I do think we dropped one in the last game of the season
To Nebraska.
to Nebraska,
Yeah.
a close one.
That could be Big Ten title implications too, you know?
Yeah.
Honestly, it could be a Big Ten West title.
So that's
And honestly, I think if that is implication, so say Iowa has a disappointing year, they're 7-4 going into that game, and Nebraska's 10-2, needs to win that game to win the West. I think Nebraska takes that game, but that's the only way I can see them taking that game myself.
Yeah.
10-2 would be 10-1, right?
Yeah.
But whatever.
Okay. Let's hear it, Noah. What do you got?
Which leads to mine. So, as far as our overall prediction, obviously with the Hawkeyes, you can guess, pretty consistent ball squad. We can guess anywhere from 7-5 to 12-0.
Yep.
And
And it's all within our grasp.
absolutely, I could see either one from this team. I really can. You look at this early season slot. You got Miami of Ohio, Rutgers. Those are 2 very winnable games. Iowa State, I think, is going to be the domino of the season. I think you go into Iowa State, you convincingly win against a ranked team that, has a shot at the Big 12 this year. I think the dominoes fall in Iowa's way, and I think, 11-1, 12-0, 10-2 is a real possibility. I think you lose that game. I think the dominoes can fall the other way quickly as well. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to predict that the Hawkeyes are going to be 12-0, baby.
Oh,
I think we're going into the Big Ten title game. I really do. And I think we win. I think we beat a ranked top 4 Michigan team to advance
2 times
to
in a year.
the college football playoffs. And I don't make these bets frequently. Remember last year, what did I guess? 7-5?
Yeah.
I think 8-4 maybe.
Something like
okay.
that.
So
I'll tell you. Sorry, go ahead.
no,
Finish.
no, I think we're going, guys. I
Wow.
think we have a lot to be excited for. Now, and it's one of those years where, like I said, it can go either way. It reminds me a lot of 2015, but it reminds me even more of our 2002 Iowa Hawkeye football team.
Freddie Russell,
That
baby.
had stud defense. Granted, it was led by Brad Banks, super quarterback. Can't really compare him and Nate Stanley. Nate Stanley is more of that pro style, where Brad was that mobile quarterback, a stable linebacking core, good receivers that kind of came out of nowhere.
True.
After a disappointing 2001 season. This is going to be a 2002 Iowa year where we go. I said 12-0, right?
You said
I was
12-0.
thinking 11-1 or 12-0. So I'm going to stick 12-0.
Okay.
And
Wow.
So I will tell you
shock
this.
the world.
Let's go.
You
We're
guys
going to
heard
the
it.
Playoffs. Buy
Everybody,
your tickets.
everybody who's listening right now on the podcast, everyone who's watching us live on Facebook currently, I will say this right now. If we go 12-0, I will let you guys shave my head and shave my beard, and I'll go full penis head.
Love it.
Dude,
Love it.
swear to God.
All in.
If we go 12-0, if it's a Thanksgiving,
You heard it here first.
because we play Nebraska on Black Friday, I'll do that. I'll let you guys do that. So you guys hear it here first. We'll see what happens. I'll let you guys shave my head.
And then before we do finish up here today, I found our game. So our week 0 game, it's going to be the Florida Gators versus the Miami Hurricanes.
Oh, perfect.
So do we want to bet on the spread and all that, or do we want to bet on winners, or what do you think?
We'll say
first, what should the losers have to do?
okay. I think the losers, should have to shotgun a beer,
Okay.
and then they should have to.
Shotgun a tall boy. Let's make it clear. Shotgun a tall boy.
So they'll have to shotgun a tall boy, a little 16
ounce.
ouncer
Son of a bitch.
poppy, and then they'll have. Let's say maybe I was gonna have maybe somebody shake one up and spray it at them while they do it.
Okay.
I don't know. What do you guys think? Is that good?
For sure, shotgun.
I like it. But shotgun, I'm going to go ahead and say shotgun in an unusual place. We live in Iowa. Let's do a Casey's or a Come and Go.
Parking lot?
I
Or
was
in?
thinking in the store. Well,
Okay.
we can pop it in the parking lot, but then you got to go in the store, shotgun it, and then we can hightail it out of there.
Wow.
Sure.
Crazy.
You guys
Okay.
ready? And we'll have the entire thing on Facebook.
All right. Sure.
Wow.
Yeah, we should do a Facebook Live. Honestly, what I would say though, and the users feel free to submit your own idea of where we should have the loser shotgun a beer and what would be maybe an inappropriate place to
Somewhere
do it. 'Cause that would
around
be
the
the best.
Iowa City, Cedar Rapids area, preferably, please, so we don't have to drive all over.
We can
you know?
keep it
That'd be
right
appreciated.
there.
So, all right.
Yeah.
So,
Okay,
so
so-
we'll figure out where, but it's going to be somewhere inappropriate.
So what's the
And so right
line?
now the spread is Florida is going to beat Miami 7.5. So Florida's favored minus 7.5.
I'm going to take Florida on that. I'm going to
So
take.
you think Florida's going to cover?
I think they're going to cover for sure. I
Okay.
think they're going to beat Miami by more than 1.5 touchdowns.
Okay.
Right? No, 7.5 points.
7.5 points. Yeah.
I think they're going to win by at least 8.
Okay. And then for the record, the over/under that's at 47 right now. So
What is?
total
points.
So that
correct?
could be another bet is all I'm saying there.
Oh, man.
Alrighty.
This is so tough.
Well, someone's got a shotgun a beer next week. Hell, I think Miami gets it done. They're going to cover the spread. They might not win the game, but they ain't going to lose by 8.
Sure enough, bud.
So you're taking Miami?
Yep.
Okay.
Miami's going to cover the spread. I'm not taking Miami to win.
I'm in Dylan's boat. I'm gonna say I'm gonna go with Miami. That they cover the spread, but
Let's go.
we'll see.
Okay. Sure enough,
Okay, so
baby.
lock it in. So we'll put that down. I'll write that down so that way we can keep track. And then, so by next week, we should know the winner of this bet, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Perfect.
So as we kind of end our segment, first off, we want to say thank you to all of our listeners. Everybody, thank you for tuning in. Thank you guys for tuning in the live video too. We really appreciate it.
Yep. Thank you so much.
Also, want to shout out the leaderboard, the home of the Hawkeyes and Tallboys. Free advertising for the leaderboard. If you guys are in North Liberty and looking to golf, still beautiful outside, but if you guys are looking for an internal golf segment on a rainy day, go to the leaderboard in North Liberty.
And
Great
they haven't
place.
even officially sponsored us. Bo's just doing that out of the goodness of his
I
heart.
mean, we did do an episode with Parker
Well,
Ashley and
actually-
Sam Brinks there.
That's
Yeah.
a good point. We're gonna
We loved it.
Yeah, we're
Love
gonna
the place.
we're gonna tag him.
Great beers. Great beers there.
We're gonna tag him for sure.
Absolutely.
So-
Another one, and maybe this is something we're going to have to read off a script, but Anchor app, we have to thank you guys again for sponsoring us again for this year. Other than that, Hawkeye football, we're really excited. Gary
Oh
Dolphin,
my God, we're fired up. Let's
Gary
go.
Dolphin, if
Golf-
you are out there,
Golf is back. Golf is back.
Golf
the
is
people
back.
cannot contain
yes,
Yes.
we
why
love you,
is he?
Dolph.
him. Golf is.
You know what's
Dolph,
funny?
I'm not gonna say Dolph is King Konging up in this,
Oh.
but he's fucking killing it. Let's go.
I'll
He's
tell you
back.
guys something that's funny. I was where was I? I was in Chicago recently, and I was talking about Iowa football to somebody else who was from Illinois. Like a friend of mine was getting married, and the conversation somehow got switched, and somebody was like, "Oh man, yeah, they were gonna suspend this one announcer, blah blah blah," and I was like, "Oh man," because he said something like that was pretty racist or something like that, and I was like, "Oh man, you want to hear something hilarious?" So in Iowa, they were trying to suspend our longtime voice of the Hawkeyes, Gary Dolphin, because he didn't know the mic was on, and he said that he just basically stated facts for the basketball team.
Mhm.
And it's like, and then what was even the other thing?
So the other thing
Go ahead.
was he was describing. I can't remember his name.
Bruno Fernando,
Yep,
right?
Bruno.
Yeah.
But he described him
from
as
Maryland.
King Kong in the paint. Now,
Oh, that's right.
Now, whatever your opinion is on that, it's totally fine by me. But my thing is, Dolph has been using this for players: white, black, Latino, Bosnian, Latavian.
Insert
Different
your
races.
all
own
of the
race,
races.
whatever.
Right. For years, since I've been listening to Hawkeye basketball on the radio, I've heard him describe big dogs as King Kong. I've heard him describe Greg Bruner as King Kong. God knows how many times. So nothing racial there. My opinion, hard take, whatever. Take it with what you want.
No, I'm just saying, I explained that situation and why, Gary Dolphin was suspended or whatever. And, my buddy laughed.
Yeah.
He was like, "Are you joking?"
Right?
He's like, "Seriously?" And I was like, "Yeah, I know. I am an Iowa Hawkeye fan. I love Gary Dolphin. I love listening to him call the games. I like, immersing myself in the culture. And it's just yeah, for some reason, I think the Gary Barta, the athletic director, I think that he's got it out for the guy.
Dude, Rob, I just realized with all my rants today, you've started all but one of them. So I like that.
I'm starting rants.
I like it.
So maybe
Let's go.
maybe we keep that for next episode then.
That's right.
What's
Good.
the name of the thing that takes us out?
In heaven there is
In
no
heaven
beer.
there is no beer.
Well, Gary, hey, just to let you know, if you are watching, congratulations on the 33 years at the bank in Dubuque.
U.S. Bank was it or Tobacco? Or
I thought it was U.S. Bank, but I think
it
I'm
is
wrong.
US Bank.
I don't know.
He was like the executive vice president or something like
Whatever
that.
he
So,
was, congratulations
Gary, you're
on
not listening
retiring.
anyways, but congrats.
We appreciate you.
We appreciate all you listeners. Again, this is our first time live. Take it easy on us.
Yep.
We will be back. This entire podcast will be posted on Apple Podcasts. We're working on Spotify, so it'll be on there before you know it.
And Stitcher.
We found out we're on Stitcher. We Googled
And
ourselves, and we
iHeartRadio.
found out we're on iHeartRadio, so that's pretty neat.
Yep.
But yeah, if you want elsewhere to look at us and you don't have an Apple iPhone, just Google us. You'll find it. So
We're also newly on all social media, so you can follow us at Hawkeyes and Tallboys at Instagram,
And
at
Twitter.
we have a Twitter. We're not good about
at
updating
H.
that, though.
It's at H Tallboys.
Yep.
For Twitter, and then obviously you'll find us on our Facebook page. So if you just Google us, you'll be able to find us everywhere.
be on the lookout for merchandise.
Absolutely, we're
Let's
gonna
go,
have a
boys.
merchandise.
All right,
So
let's get a cheers and then
yeah, we can get a cheers going. Hold on.
In heaven there is no beer.
All
It's
right.
on mute.
Oh, you know what? We got it?
Restart it real quick.
Oh,
Yeah, restart it.
Let's get this restarted.
Here we go.
all right, boys.
Here we go.
Great episode.
Cheers.
Great. Go Hawks, fellas. Thanks for listening. Woo!